Not all therapy or therapy modalities work in the same way. Different modalities have different approaches in terms of how we think, behave, or feel. So let's look at some of those main modalities or therapies and see how they function and how we understand them. Hi, I'm Noel. My mission is to give you the psychological tools to understand yourself, to understand other people in your life, and to live a healthier and a happier life. So the different types of therapy exist or modalities, and let's try and explain those in pretty straightforward and simple terms. You might have heard terms like CBT, group therapy, psychodynamic, EMDR. Okay, what are they? Well, CBT, that was the revolution in therapy, if you like, cognitive behavioral therapy, the one that changed the narrative, changed the story, changed the outcomes on therapy. And the meaning of it is in the words cognitive behavioral therapy. So cognitive, the way you think, behavior, what you do in the world, and therapy, things getting better. That's what therapy should mean. Cognitive is understanding that there are ways of thinking that are not very helpful and learning what those thoughts are, because thoughts are linked to feelings, are linked to behavior, and understanding that process is very important. The behavioral bit is because what happens for any of us as humans, if we're afraid of something, we avoid it. If we're depressed, we decide through thinking about it that it's not worth doing anymore, even if it's good for us. So a simple example would be if you like going for a walk in the park, if you're depressed, you might go, oh, it's not worth it. It's not going to be as nice as it used to be, which will make you more depressed because you stay at home. So understanding that your behavior is important and certain types of behaviors are really important for health and well-being. Group therapy, I suppose it's in the name. It's done with a group of people. Why is it different to just hanging out with a group of people in the pub? It's because there's somebody guiding the interactions of the group and working towards improving your functioning as an individual with others in the group. And the group is like a little petri dish or an experimental lab for you where you can practice new aspects of your functioning, which you can then take into other group situations like your work or your family or your school. So it can be a very powerful tool. Psychodynamic is a broad term meaning the original psychotherapies, if you like, so Jungian and Freudian and Kleinian, and that's very traditional stuff around looking at the relationship between there and then and here and now. Most modern psychotherapies are more interested in here and now. EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, that's a mouthful. What does that mean? It means that we understand that the brain has an up and down and a left and right, and that we can affect that. And that up and down and left and right stuff is how information is processed. And when we're traumatized, for example, which is where EMDR comes from, that natural movement of information up and down and left and right in the brain is interfered with. And so there are techniques that exist, and eye movement is one of them, to help you reprocess information that is traumatic, for example, but it could also be around depression, anxiety, etc. And then there are various other types, dialectical behavior therapy, but let's not get into that one. So there's a lot of modern psychological therapies with these long-sounding names that are all based upon how we understand how neurologically we are made up as human beings. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me a lot, folks.